Hello. I'd like to reflect a little bit on the last update, which was this particular little demonstration here you see of these themes that are switching. And I had some people reach out to me that thought that there might be just some lighting differences that was accounting for what you see here. And I can understand that because we see that primary kind of color of purple switching to this kind of mint primary color. And it looks like, hey, maybe that's being done with lights. But actually, the themes that are getting switched between here dynamically is just going in an interval, as you can tell. These themes are of colors that are not for lights, but are the colors of materials, as well as, if you look over here, there's a heart picture or image that's changing to the CS1 logo. There's also colors changing within this jukebox. And there's the geometry that's changing. If I look up over here, I'm going to have to go off over here. If I look up over here, you can see that sphere. And that sphere that's up here, its color is changing, but also the radius of its geometry is changing. So it's important to for me, it's important to communicate at this point that themes can include a variety, pretty much anything in terms of what's changing, what constitutes a theme. A theme could not only be a set of colors and geometries, it could be the resources that are used with a certain theme. It could be a whole set of sounds in a sound library that's used that goes along with the theme. It could be the language services. If something is doing some translating in the application, it could set the theme according to, it could even dynamically set the theme if you wanted to based on the locale and the language of the person has in the browser. That would be a great way to use the themes along with localization. It's really so broad. Anything could be part of a theme. Even the actual models that you use could be part of a theme. You can swap out the models. Maybe they're both avatars of people, but in a certain theme you would have a completely different avatar. Not only the colors of the avatar, but maybe you swap it out to a completely different model. So let's go ahead and maybe just make this a little more clear. I'm going to go into cs1.design. And I'm going to go into the themes, which is this object. Let's just look at it. There's only two themes right now, neon and pastel. But each of those themes, they have different key value pairs. Now the keys are just these names, but the values really can be anything. For the most part, they're just strings. That's all I have really here now, but they don't have to be. Well, I have a number down here as well. So they're all strings in one number. But there's nothing saying that they can't be an object or an array. Really anything that you want to thematically represent can be, okay? And you can change these themes directly as well, or you can edit the themes. Maybe you didn't like the primary color for the neon or the pastel. Maybe you didn't like that primary color, this color right here, which is kind of like the minty color. What if you wanted it to be, for the pastel what if you wanted it to be lime? Maybe that would be a little bit too bright, but let's just go ahead and see how you could change that. Literally, you could just go CS1 design themes. As you can guess, you can just, right? It's mutable, so you can just go in there and change primary and just set it. What did I say? I wanted to set it to lime as a color? Okay, so what would that change? Let's go back to the next theme. Look at that. See how it's changed? I just changed that one part of the theme. You see how everything that referenced it changed. I just changed that one part. Now, what if I did? So this is such a powerful concept because it's natural. You think about, hey, this doesn't go along with the theme. And once you realize what it can do, it's eye-opening. You could think about organization and even the way that the games play or applications work, as you're using themes as a mechanic or themes as something that you expose to the players of the game, the application users, and you allow them to edit things that are essentially part of a theme, um, it really starts to get you thinking, and not in some really deeply technical way, but in a very clearly worded, intuitive way. So let's go over here and change something else. Maybe we change um, the so that sphere that's up there. It's see how big it is right there with the. Let's go see what it is. The radius. That's the radius value in the pastel. So what if I go over there? It's 0.5 for the small one. What if I make it? Let's see. What if I made it really small? 0.1. So you can see it there at 0.5. What if I change it to 0.1? Wait till the next time it goes around. Next time it gets to the sphere, it'll be much smaller, right? And here we go. There it is. Look at it now, that radius. So again, there's only one part of this scene that's referencing that radius of the theme. And we just edited. We went directly into that one aspect of that theme and edited it. So, okay, I just wanted to clear that up. Hopefully it makes it a little more clear. We could dynamically even change this like image that's over here as well, but I think you get the point. I could pass in a different image for like that heart or the logo, and it will do the same thing. It will then become part. Then if you change it in the theme, then it could be used such. Whenever you set the theme to a different theme or you switch the theme, I don't have it detecting whenever. Notice I don't have it detecting when you update the theme. When you update a key over here. Now, what I could do is I could detect changes on that, but I actually, so the way that you currently do this, because I'm constantly going and resetting the theme, what I would say right now, because I don't like, there's something about kind of just mutating it afterwards, and you can change part of it, but I want you to be very clear about it at this point. So if I was changing that like right now to 0.2, I could make it immediately take effect. I could, but I want you to go through this step at this point. I don't, reach out to me if you think this is overkill. But if I go set theme, pastel, right? And it's already changed it because I didn't even, because the other one changing it. But if I had done that right after. So if you edit something and then you set it, even if it's already at that theme, that's a way of updating it. I could have it listen for changes, kind of detect changes on the object, but I think that's unnecessary. I think if you're going to go in and you're going to be changing these, whenever you change them, just go ahead and reset it afterwards. So there's certain little decisions in how you use this API that I would really like to entertain a discussion with people about, because that's how communication, that discussion is good communication and making the system work better. Now that's the first thing I wanted to talk about today. Second thing is really about this new part of the media registry and the media API. So if you look at CS1.media so far, what is it? Well, media only has one aspect to it, sound. I haven't even gotten into other media. I didn't get into video and images yet. But I'm going to have other media. I'm going to have, definitely, I'll do video, then images afterwards. But again, I like to entertain the discussion first with this one part of the media system, so that we can kind of maybe work through some things before I dive into the video and the images part. Because, this could be really something that you have a ground level effect on by reaching out and getting part of this. But let's look at what I added here today, right? So here's the idea. If CS1 media sound, so if I take it one step further and look at the sound API so far, the sound API has a registry, and the registry is really just a key value. When I say registry, most of the time, I'm thinking of these if you look over here, the registry is essentially are these sound elements. So they're actual elements that are, when you register something, it's actually accessing what you create. It's not a whenever you're registering like a sound and you pass in a URL, it's actually fetching that URL. It's actually getting it immediately. So that's something that I'm thinking about changing, and having the registry part maybe separate from the library. See, that's where I don't know if that's clear, because here's the idea. If you don't need to use a sound, if you don't need to use a certain sound, there's no sense in loading it into the system. Currently, whenever you register a sound, well, it's not loaded in until you register it. But let's just say that you might want to register it, but you're only maybe you only want to register the asset URL, but you don't want to load it. You only want to load it in certain situations of gameplay. And the player might never even choose that path in the game or application that requires you to access that particular sound. So I'm thinking about changing this. I need to come up with a good name. Right now, I was thinking registry and library, because I already have. So I was thinking about having a sound.lib for library, or sound.map or something like that. That would just simply be the name of the sound and then the URL that will be associated with it. That way, if you wanted to kind of like load up a game with a bunch of potential sounds, just references to URLs, then you can keep that in your game, but not load the sounds themselves. Okay, so if that makes some sense to you, reach out to me. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that. But so I'll probably make some decision and just let you know in the next day or so, because I'm kind of leaning towards having like a little library as well, so you don't have so you can add references to sounds in there. Okay, that being said, all right, I think I said that enough. Let me look at this example over here. Let me back up a bit from where I was at. So right here, what am I doing? I'm saying S equals await CS1 media sound create. What I'm doing is I'm passing in to this create function under the sound, create this sound, and it's giving it a name, oh my, and then it's giving it a URL. So this URL is going to actually get fetched immediately once this is created. So it's going to create the sound. It's going to return to me actually a reference to a sound component, not the element itself. It's going to return a reference to the sound component, and the sound component has, it has methods on it, such as play sound and so forth. Where exactly to place some of these methods, whether they're on the component or on the actual entity, I like to put them on the components. That way I'm not kind of going to clash, have like a namespace collision when people have different components on the entity, maybe components that they made. So I think it's better just to keep most of these methods on the components themselves, or on the systems, even better. But if I go ahead and hit enter right here, it returns me that reference to the component. And I could just go at that point like s.play sound, oh my, and then it plays that sound. Something else I can do, since the registry already has, so if I go over here at CS1 media sound registry, if I go in there, there's already, now that I've done that, now there are 3 sounds in the registry. Okay, so the registry already has those active sounds in there. And so if there's already one in there, I can create a new instance, if you will, of that sound. It'll be a separate instance. Remember, these sounds live in the 3D world, and you can play them anywhere in 3D. So if I go over here and instead did like C, because it's going to end up being a clone, equals await CS1.media sound.create, and then the jump sound. Maybe I just cloned the jump sound. So this time I'm not passing in a URL, I'm just passing in the name of a registered sound. Boom. I get a reference to the jump sound. And if I go C.play sound, then I hear that jump sound. Okay? And then finally, just if it errors out, just in case you were wondering, so if I go back here, what if I did this and took this out? There's no sound with that name. It will just give you that error. It will say that the create function requires the name of a registered sound or the name of the name and the URL to the sound file. So it'll hopefully give you some fairly decent error information, and it doesn't break the game by doing that. All right, so that's pretty much what I wanted to put out there. I probably will be coming down and I'm guessing that I'll probably make a sound library, which will have like the URL. Maybe I'll even call it a URL map, or just the sound lib for library. I don't know. So if you know of a word that will go better for that, well, I'll reach out to you again in another video soon. Have a wonderful day.